Good morning. Welcome to our Principal and AD Directors webinar. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving break, and this week started out well for you. We've just completed our Fall Sports Championship this past weekend, and we're starting our Winter Sports Championship. In line with that, though, we want to continue to give you information. This is one of many webinars that we will do, and we've done some in the past. Got a lot of information to share. Please don't hesitate to ask questions as we go through it, but submit it through the Q&A portion of the webinar. This is being recorded in the event that you want to review it later. We also have it recorded in the event somebody missed it and have an opportunity to go and view it. We think we have important information. We were looking forward to sharing it with you. Again, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this. And I'll now turn it over to Associate Commissioner Amy Boozer.
Sorry, got to unmute. Thank you, Commissioner Singleton. We have information that we'll be sharing today. And at the conclusion, we'll actually have big teams that will come on and kind of give a demonstration of you entering your eligibility for second semester. Some of you will be doing that with winter sports, but all of you will be using that obviously for your spring sports. So to begin with, we're going to get started with Deputy Commissioner Charlie Winsky.
Good morning. I want to touch base with you and share some things with Arbiter. We have sent some emails out with you or to you, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and also have shared a ton of information over the years with you on Arbiter. Unfortunately, what we're finding is that some folks are not reading or not paying attention to the information we're sending, which is causing some mass confusion, frustrations on your end. Also, frustrations on our end because we're being asked to fix things and to take care of things at the very last minute because they weren't handled on the front end. So a couple slides for you here before I show you some things in Arbiter. First of all, please do not add or delete any games. Jill's asked that you do not add or delete any basketball games or make changes in Arbiter, that email all the changes to her. This is pertaining to games that are already assigned. If we're talking about January the 14th, please go in and make all your changes you need to. Since we have transformed into this Arbiter game platform, you have the ability to make more changes than ever before. If you go in and delete or change something, it can throw the whole thing off that we have set up, and it may not notify the officials, and certainly we don't have any knowledge of it. If you've got a canceled or postponed game, first contact all the officials. And again, once you've confirmed with them they can or cannot work, then you're going to email Jill here at the league office. And a couple reminders on that with Jill is that, of course, she's transitioned from the front of our office she's in now. And when she did that, her email has updated to jill@schsl.org. If there's going to be a rescheduled game again, we're going to contact the officials. Again, this is if they've been booked. And then once we know who can or can't, you're going to relay that information to Jill via email so that she has it in writing from you. As you enter in your games into Arbiter, especially your basketball games, this is some reminders for you. I know many of you have them already in, and you say, well, they're in. If they're not assigned yet and they're still sitting out there 2 weeks ahead of time, please go in and try to check through yourself to make sure it was put in correctly. Again, we asked this a few weeks back, and inevitably we've had some boys games not get assigned because they weren't visible on our end because they weren't put in correctly. So when you put them in, make sure the dates and times, varsity games, your boys and girls games, if they're played on the same day, should have an hour and a half between game times. If not, you're going to receive a conflict message. Game sites, make sure that our sites are set the same for our boys and girls game. This is important to us because we are linking those two games. You see here some examples that Jill has listed for you. We've got a girls' game is going to AB's high school. And then they're both being played at the gym. So we've got AB high school gym for the girls' game. The boys' game's being played at AB high school gym. There's 3 examples there. AB high school, comma, AB high school. The big thing is that you pick the same site for your boys' game and your girls' game playing on the same day. You see on the bottom lines there are 3 examples of incorrect site entries. Where in the girls' game, we just have AB high school selected. And then for the boys' game, the same night, same school opponent, we have AB high school gym selected. When Jill's trying to link your games to be able to assign 3 officials to work both, the game cannot be linked because you didn't put the same site in for both games. So again, what we're doing on our end is you've put the information in, we're linking them together so that we can just send you 3 officials, but we need to make sure they're put in correctly. And then last, if you've got any questions about Arbiter, or you need any resources, this is a school support email. This is schools@arbitersports.com. And of course, you've got an opportunity to jump in to a live chat on the helpful links provided there through Arbiter. And of course, if you've got any questions, you can always contact our office, and we are glad to help you. And now what I want to do is I want to share with you what it looks like when we are building a game. And this is important because I'm going to share with you Spring Valley High School's Coach DeBattista has given me permission to launch into his account. First of all, we're going to bring you up the schedule here. We see the schedule of events. This is the page. The schedule page is going to bring you to the events he's got coming up. So today we see that Spring Valley High School is going to play a varsity girls basketball and varsity boys game against Ridgeview. He looks over here. You've got this officials jersey. You see it's in green. That means officials have been assigned. Okay, so we've got 3 assigned. We see who's coming. And now let's jump over here to the 15th of next week. We see we've got 2 games, our varsity girls basketball and our varsity boys basketball, that are in yellow. That means they don't have officials assigned yet. They're still working on, or they're pending an assignment, which means the officials are pending, waiting to be, are approving it to take the assignment. If you get to a situation, I would suggest, and we've sent this back out during football season, I would suggest every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, and every Friday, just pop into your Arbiter account for the week and see what you have coming up, and just click on every day and make sure that every game you've got, and this is this simple right here. I come in Monday morning and I click on every day this week, and I see that all my games on this calendar are here. I'm going to double check all of my calendars to make sure there's not a game that we have that we're missing. Because see, if I check this today and I realize that, hey, this Friday, let's say he looked on here and he goes, hey, we've got Westwood on the road. There's no varsity officials, even though it's not our game. It's at Westwood, just in case Westwood High School didn't check. Spring Valley could see, hey, our road game at Westwood, there's no officials. Something's odd there. Let me try to reach out and see why we don't have officials, and maybe email Jill, especially inside the same week, or email the assigner who would be assigning that, because there could be a situation where we can't see it on our end, or the assigner can't see it on their end. And I'm going to explain that to you here in a quick second. Folks, this is as simple as a 5 minutes every Monday morning, checking your Arbiter to make sure that what you have scheduled for that week at home is in the system, and that you have officials assigned. And we're talking 5, maybe 10 minutes, depending on your volume of sports. But the wintertime, it should be 5 minutes each Monday just to verify everything's there. That way we don't get calls on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock saying, hey, we've got 2 basketball games tonight and we've got no officials, or we haven't put it in, we're sorry. We've getting way too many of those. Just to be quite frank, we're getting way too many schools that have forgotten to put their games in days of. And honestly, where we are right now with officials, it's becoming increasingly harder and harder to just snap our fingers and have officials show up. It's just not that easy. So we need you to get out in front and double check everything. Okay, now I'm gonna, Amy, any questions, Amy? So
Charlie, I
far?
do have one question I want you to address, and then there will be another question I want you to, when you get off, to answer that one. We do have someone saying that their arbiter does not look this way, that it still just has the list of teams.
Okay,
Their
so you're still
schools.
operating, they're still operating in the old Arbiter platform, which is fine. So they wouldn't do anything different. Everything in there should work very easily for them. This is for those of you that have transitioned into Arbiter Game, which of course, that information was shared with you back in the late summer. Arbiter Game upgrade was free, whereas in the past they have charged you for it. It is a free upgrade. And of course, you see here that Spring Valley is utilizing Arbiter Game, and a majority of our schools are. If your Arbiter still looks like it looked last year, to where you have a list of teams and you click out, it's the same concept. You're going to go in and just check every week to see that you have officials assigned. And what you're going to see there, instead of the jersey, is you're going to see an example. You'll see 5 of 5. It'll show you 5/5. If it's football, basketball will show you 3/3, and that will be in green. If it's in red, if it says 0 of 3, that means they're not assigned. So either way, you want to double check whichever platform you're in. Now, the old platform is already set up and designed. When you put your game in, it should link you right to your assigners for all of your sports, provided you choose the right account that you're putting it in. And if you put your junior varsity basketball schedule in your varsity account, Richie Jeffcoat, if you're in Columbia, who is the assigner, he would not see those junior varsity games because you've put them in the wrong account. So you got to make sure you put them in the right account, even if you're in the old platform. And I see the questions are piling up, Amy. What's going on? With the
That's it.
questions?
They were just,
Okay, good.
well, one asked, why do some accounts ask for scores, others don't?
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, and
I
then
can't
is the
answer that question.
upgrade to Arbiter Game still free?
Yes. Arbiter Game is still free. And of course, Arbiter Game allows you to do many other things in terms of scheduling. I believe it allows you to schedule even buses and or gate workers to come in as well. And of course, we did have 2 webinars on that in the summertime. Let me take you now. If you are in Arbiter Game, let me show you how to set up your sports, especially your spring sports, because many of you are going to start entering those schedules in now. And we've got various assigners and various sports. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. So we're going to go to resources. And I'm going to show you how. Let me back up really quick. I'm going to show you how you can see this game. For example, you may, let's say that Spring Valley High School could see this game for this Friday, and it's yellow. Or let's go to today's date, playing Ridgeview at home. They could see this game in their system, but the jerseys are yellow and it's the day of, and it's a varsity game. And then you call and you say, hey, I don't have officials and I don't understand. I'm going to show you how that's possible really quick. So we're going to go to resources. And this is under the school's account now in Arbiter Game. And then you have all your teams listed here. So the example I just gave you, let me give you basketball here. When he set up his games, he's got, of course, you've got your teams, your site location, your gym. This is your default information here. Of course, he's got some other options to select. So if he actually selected Woodlands Country Club for his basketball games, those officials, some of them may show up at Woodlands Country Club. Hopefully they'll kind of realize that they're probably not playing a basketball game there. When it comes down to the officiating tab, he has selected an Arbiter 1 assigning group. Had he selected no officials required for this game or assigned by the school, we would not see that. So when he selected an Arbiter 1 assigning group, he then has a default assigner group, which if the league office is assigning it, it is a 101-800 SCHSL. That means it's varsity boys basketball, varsity girls basketball, or it is varsity football. This is the assigning group that you're going to select for those sports. And then once you've selected that, it should give you an assigning level, which in this case, it would be 5A boys. But again, that allows us to see it on our end, because what's happening is you're putting it in your system, and then we have our system over here. But if you put it in correctly, we'll be able to see it in our system. You can enter it in incorrectly, and then we can't see it. So the most important person that needs to be able to see it are the ones that are assigning your officials. So you have to make sure that you've put it in correctly. In this case, they have their basketball put in correctly. I'm going to show you one that is not put in correctly because I went in and changed it just for the purpose. This is baseball. So what I've done is I've gone to their, again, resources, teams, and I've got varsity boys baseball here. And what I've got, if I don't do anything else in this system, what's going to happen is if he just goes in, if Coach DeBattista goes in and he starts setting up, so he's got his stuff set up. This is the setup here. He would hit save changes, and then he's going to go back to his schedule and start entering in baseball games. He hasn't set this up correctly. He can enter in every home varsity baseball game. You will see it as a school on your end. You will think you are good to go. Everything is perfect. However, your assigner won't see a game. Because right now it says in varsity baseball for his team, no officials are required for this game. So we're going to have to go in and change this tab under officiating. He's going to select an Arbiter 1 assigning group. Okay. And then we're going to save those changes down here to the bottom right. Now I'm going to go back into baseball. Well, it should have saved changes. All right, so I'm going to select an Arbiter 1 assigning group. I'm going to add another group. Now, this gives me a chance here to add a subgroup. And in this case, it's varsity baseball. Okay, so it's varsity baseball here. And my default group is going to be my local assigner. In this case, it is District 5, Columbia, Allen Hare. And if you don't know who your local assigner is, you can go to our website under officials. And in each sport, we have it by districts and who that assigner is. If you still can't figure that out, you're going to need to just send me an email or Jill an email, and we'll tell you who your assigner is. So we've got District 5 here, Allen Hare. If I select Allen Hare, that's who's going to assign for Spring Valley. That's going to become my default. So now every group, of course, varsity baseball, every varsity game that I put in for home, the Allen Hare group will be able to see. We would save those changes. And we're good to roll there on our varsity baseball. Now let's go to soccer. Soccer here. Again, I'm going to set up every spring sport, and I'm going to make sure, okay, we already have an Arbiter 1 assigning group in place. We see our default here is 101-800. Well, we know that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem because our office is not assigning this sport. So again, 101-800 SCHSL, that's coming to our account here at the office. That means Jill is your assigner. Jill is not going to be assigning varsity boys soccer. So you're going to go in, and in this case, you see already several default options here. CASRA. And of course, I got the question mark. What assigning group's that? Have any questions about this level? Contact Ernest Bucky Jones. Okay, I'm in Columbia. I've never heard of Bucky Jones. It's certainly not going to be him. Assigning Grand Strand, probably not going to be me in Spring Valley. Oh, Intersport, Dennis Cook. There's a name I recognize because Dennis does Columbia. So I'm going to set Dennis now as my default so that now all of my soccer matches at home get booked to Dennis. And then I'm going to go in and I've got to do the same thing for my junior varsity boys, my varsity girls, my varsity boys, and my varsity boys and girls lacrosse. So we'll look at lacrosse here for Spring Valley. And I guess one benefit of allowing me to use his stuff is I'll make sure it's all set up here on the front end. Right here, we already have our default set up. South Carolina lacrosse officials. That default is already set up for him. We will move out of this account. And of course, now I'm going to go back to my schedule. And let's put the game in. Again, going to add a new game. And I'm going to select my sport, boys varsity baseball. I'll just do TBA. Of course, we'll add one in there for December 8th. And when I get it all done and published, it will all come through. You see here, officials is going to be assigned by Alan Hare. Again, this is another double check. I'm just going to do a quick punch in. It's going to go by Alan Hare. And then I set everything up the way I want, and I would hit create game, and then it would immediately pop into my schedule, hopefully for this week. And we see it right here for December 8th, varsity baseball TBA. And of course, we don't have any officials because we haven't even started the process of filling those out or accepting those games. So any questions, Amy, about this game or about entering these things?
Yes, we have a couple questions, and it's kind of going back to basketball. One is asking about the voucher, where the voucher would be to print.
I have no idea on that question. That is dealing with the arbiter pay situation, and we don't get into arbiter pay here. That's be something you need to contact arbiter and get out of them instead of, because we don't deal with arbiter pay from the school end.
All right, then we have another question. If you have a road game, so if you're the away team on a particular date and it doesn't show up, does that mean the home school does not have officials?
Potentially so. Potentially they don't have the game in. If you're not seeing the game, then you're not seeing the game's probably not in the system. See here, right here, this is Spring Valley High School, and they're showing they're playing girls varsity basketball versus Richland Northeast. Let's look for a game where maybe they're away. Nope, not going to be the case. They're either. Okay, let's go to January. Maybe they play a road game in January somewhere. Okay, so we see here on January the 4th, they're going to Ridgeview High School to play Ridgeview High School. I'm seeing that game. I'm not Ridgeview High School. I am in Spring Valley's account. I am acting. I mean, right now, what you're seeing is what Spring Valley High School sees when they get into their account. So I'm seeing that on January 4th, I'm just going through my schedule, doing a check. Okay, good. Ridgeview's got the game in for our varsity boys and girls. I don't have officials because I've got a yellow jersey. I can click on that yellow jersey and I see there's 3 open slots, which it makes sense because we're a month away. We're not booking that far out. If I got to January the 5th and I'm supposed to be going to Northeast that day and I don't see anything in there, then nobody has put that game in, which means we're going to get on the bus and we're going to drive, and the other team is either A, going to be there waiting for us, B, not be there at all. But regardless of whether it's A or B, there are going to be no officials. Because if you can't see it in arbiter, whether you're home or a road, there definitely is not going to be anybody on our end that can see it to assign officials.
All right, and we're getting some other questions. I guess schools being on the old platform, wanting to, I guess, get to the new platform.
Yeah,
we have
you do.
some
I'll
UAVs that,
I'll find that information out. So just so you understand what we're doing, what we're going to do is we've got this this walkthrough how to add games. Specifically, it talks about basketball, and as we get to January, we'll talk about the spring sports too. We're going to put all this on our website as well. We're also going to send you some links and some tutorials. And what we'll do is we'll just send out one big arbiter message to our member schools. And that'll include, if you want to upgrade to arbiter game, how you go about doing that. Now, understand, if you have not updated your directory, with your address as an AD or principal, you will not get that email. So if you don't get the email, it's probably because your directory has not been updated. So we can only communicate with those that have information put in correctly. So again, this is vital. I encourage all of you right now, today, when we get off this, to just go through your next few weeks and then January, your sub-varsity and varsity basketball schedules and wrestling, to make sure that all your games are linked to the appropriate assigner. And everything is in correctly. We just got an email this morning from the school. Hey, we've got no officials tonight. Well, I can't even see a game in the system right now for that school. So that makes it a challenge on our end to be able to go find some new officials. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but please double check your schedules and make sure that you've got officials. A red flag for you is if you've got a boys and girls varsity game and you only see officials for the girls and not for the boys, or vice versa, you see them for the boys but not for the girls, something's off. We're going to send the same 3 folks to do the boys and the girls game together. We're not going to send you 3 for the girls and 3 for the boys when they're playing back to back at the same site. So again, if you see a green jersey for the girls and a yellow jersey for the boys in the game right after, something's off for the boys. Those officials coming don't know there's a boys game. We didn't know there's a boys game. So please go through your schedules and make sure that if you've got a boys and girls game, they both have officials and they are put in correctly so that the assigners can see them. Amy, that is all I have unless there are any new questions, and I'll turn it
Yeah,
back.
there are a few questions and I think you can just kind of go through and probably answer directly through them in the chat.
Okay, I will. Coach Hartso, what we're trying to do is we're trying to advance our assign our officials about 2 weeks out. Right now, we're on the 1 week system. We're hoping to get out this week officials from now through Christmas out as well. Coach Campbell, if your assigner is not listed, what we're going to do is just send us an email. We'll try to figure out how to get that assigner put in there. And I think there is a step that you can find them in there.
All right, do you want to type your
Yeah,
answers
I'm
in
gonna
there?
type
So,
the answers for the
yeah,
rest
that
of
way
them.
we can go ahead and
Yeah.
move on to Danny.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewinsky, and good morning to everyone. I got just a few announcements for you. First of all, I'd like for you to mark your calendar, December 15th. December 15th, we will have our final leadership summit of the 22 year. We have an outstanding group of presenters coming to you for our December 15th leadership summit. That will be at 1 o'clock. For those of you that don't know, we try to provide a educational seminar for our student athletes every month. And so you get one thing a month. This month is the high school student leadership summit. We never want to interrupt your classes at the same time. If we do something in the morning this month and next month, we'll do something in the afternoon. However, December the 15th is scheduled for 1 o'clock. For the Student Leadership Summit. You can go to our website to register for that, and you will be getting an email later today concerning that particular summit. The other reminder that I have for you is ejections. We are into our winter sports now. Ejections are high. I do want you to speak with your coaches and athletes. It's extremely high for coaches for this time of year, so that certainly needs to be addressed. But if an athlete or coach is ejected during a contest, it is so important that I get the school report immediately. Not only that, I also need to stress the importance of video. If there's a doubt, concern, or you want to challenge an ejection, it is so important that you have video available to send to us so that we can look at the act or acts that transpired and if necessary, overturn any of those things. But in absence of video, it makes it very difficult to make any changes to an ejection. Are there any questions pertaining to those two items?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Boozer.
All right, thanks, Danny. Just gonna have a few reminders and then I'm gonna turn it over to Alex with Big Teams. I just want to remind you all, we are celebrating our female athletes. We're highlighting them with pictures on our website. And so I do ask that for winter sports, you can see right here on the main page of our website, we have a banner here. And if you will click on this, let me get here. There is a jot form for you to fill out to submit your pictures to be posted on the website. So this jot form needs to be completed in order for you to put the pictures on the website. So we do ask that you use the jot form, and it keeps scrolling away from me, in order to put your pictures on the website for your winter sports. So those of you that do have females that are participating with wrestling, we do ask that you submit them, the girls that you have on the team, just do not submit a team picture. We want to highlight the females only. This is the jot form right here that you will use to upload your picture. So again, upload the pictures for your basketball and female wrestlers that you have so we can start highlighting them on our website. And in addition to that, we have the proposed constitutional and bylaws proposals. Those are due to our office by January 1st, 2023. So the submission form is online. So if there is a constitution or bylaw proposal that your principal or superintendent would like to submit, this form would need to be completed in order to do that. And then also want to remind you that we will have rule clinics for our spring sports. So our spring sports rule clinics, if they did not attend the coaches clinic and attend a rule clinic there, they will need to do the spring sports rule clinics on big teams. So again, those will be on big teams. They open up January 2nd and they will go through the 31st of January. So just make sure your head coaches are aware of this and get this rule clinic taken care of. And then the last thing, just a reminder, classification meetings will be coming up the middle of January. These are posted on our calendar, but I will share the dates with you. January 17th, we will have Class 4A meeting at 9 a.m. Class 5A will meet that afternoon on January 17th at 1 p.m. And then the following day, January 18th, will be Class A only, meeting at 9 a.m. And then on the 19th of January, Class 2A will meet at 9 a.m., followed by Class 1A at 1 p.m. And again, those dates are on our website for your classification meetings. So with that, those are just a few reminders for you. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Alex with Big Teams so he can kind of go over the entering your eligibility for second semester.
Jane, Amy,
Yes, sir.
we may have to check the one for 5A class. I think they have a change on their meeting date.
Okay.
We'll get that out to them. I spoke with Ms. Driggers yesterday, so that date is different than what it currently is, and I'll get that update to them when I do my closing comments.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me to this meeting. I see a lot of people are in attendance, so just want to let you guys know. My name is Alex Hyman. Hopefully, I've met with most of you. I've been with Big Teams, Planet HS, all the name changes that you guys have experienced over the years. I've been here for 6 years. I do live in Charleston, South Carolina, so it means a lot to represent the state of South Carolina, represent Big Teams, and be a part of your everyday operations. So what we're showing today is really just the updated eligibility filing for the spring semester. This is our test site. So if you were to go into your site today and want to do spring semester eligibility, that would not what I'm going to show you is not currently on the live site, but we're really just finishing it up, showing everybody and deploying that here in the next few days. So you guys can get started and be ready to go for spring semester eligibility filings. When we do that, you will have a pop-up on this page just with basically letting you know this feature's live, and also a link to the help guide. That pop-up will not always be there, but if you ever need a reference to help guide and really the new rules that we're talking about today, check out self-help at the top. There's gonna be information there. You can search it, you can contact us, whatever you need to do. We wanna make sure the eligibility process is pretty straightforward. And that's really where we're at. I did meet with Commissioner Singleton a few times to go through this with the goal of, again, making this process a little easier for all schools. So what I have here, your standard eligibility filing. I'm going to start my initial here with one of our sports. And what we're going to do is just enter a few names and talk about this. The changes that we've made are columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll see column 1, number of courses passed previous semester. Column 2, number of required courses taken. Column 3, number of required courses passed. So a lot of the logic that we've added is based on these 3 columns. I'm going to start with the simplest scenario. I'm going to put in a student name here. As you can see, I select their name. A lot of this does pre-populate from our online registration platform, so definitely want to plug that in there. These last 3 dates, their date of birth. But regardless, what we're going to do now with column 1, we'll see our options are 4 and 5 plus. If we select 5 plus, column 2 and column 3 go to NA, and then the rest of this is just putting in columns 4, 5, and 6. So I'll say no, no. So this is a student. I've not saved it or approved it, but we can see, these are the guidelines that they need to meet with 5 plus. Going into another student here, I will select their name, plug in this information. And so the other scenarios, selecting 4 here, and number of courses passed previous semester. This is where column 2 and column 3 have different logic per se. In column 2, number of required courses taken, if I select 0, 1, 2, or 3, column 3 must match that same number, 0, 1, 2, or 3. So if I select 3 here in column 2, but then put 2 in column 3, this would become a student that is ineligible, and it would not let you approve the filing. So the required course, number of required courses taken, if 3 or less, column 3 must match that number. I'll put this in here. So we'll leave this as is, and I'll show you how when we go to approve this, how it will fail. But going to the next scenario, we'll select our student here. We'll select 4 again, but this time in column 2, we'll select between 4 and 9. Between 4 and 9, if I select that, let's say I select 6, column 3 must be 4 or greater. So 0 to 3 in column 2, column 3 must reflect that number. If column 2 is 4 or more, column 3 must also be 4 or more. So if I select 4 here, this is an approved student. If I were to select 3, that would be an ineligible student, and you would not be able to approve this filing. So I'm going to select 4 in this case. You'll see we did actually, I believe we made an update here for previous semester overall passing average. We eliminated the no option because this has to be yes. So I'm going to select yes, no, no, and I'm going to fill this in and save data. So we're going to save this data. And then when we go to send to principal, I'll do that. We're going to see this is where we get the error for our one student today that we purposely put in incorrect information. You cannot approve this. You cannot send it because Michael's the test student here they must have passed all required courses because the number of required courses is 3 or less. So those are the updates here. Does anybody at the high school league staff have any commentary, any context for this, or did I cover anything I missed potentially? I think that may have been everything right there.
I think that covers what,
Nice. Yeah, I
Yes.
again, yeah, the goal was to streamline that. Just for a couple more seconds, with the eligibility filings, if you're building team rosters, be sure to import those rosters, bring in all those students, those registration students, the online registration. And then lastly, just know that Big Teams now does offer scheduling and fan websites. If you're interested in learning more about that, definitely let us know. We're trying to help out schools as best we can. So thank you for your time. And if you have questions about eligibility going forward, we're here to help. So
So
thank you very
Alex,
much.
as we look at
Go
it,
for it.
Alex, as we look at it, let's look at column 5.
Mhm.
We're saying no, that didn't meet, but that's not applicable if they're passing the courses. That non-diploma only becomes applicable if the student is on a certificate. So we
Okay.
may want to check that column on 5 where we either put it becomes not applicable, or that answer has to be yes in order for the student to be eligible if he was
Okay.
on a certificate plan.
Yeah, let's meet about that and walk through that logic after this, just so we can kind of pinpoint the scenarios that lead to eligibility with this being possibly not needing to be updated. It does default to no, but we can look at how we can clean that up a little bit and clarify it and make sure the help guide reflects the appropriate logic.
That's great. That's great. And again, the good part about it is we don't need to have it into effect until the beginning of the second semester, which helps us, gives us some time.
Absolutely.
okay, and we did have one question. I'm just going to answer this because we have a lot of middle schools that are asking. This new academic requirement only applies to your high school students, and that would start with your 9th grader second semester. Your middle school eligibility and those 9th graders that come to you for fall sports, their academic requirements have not changed. So this is just those 9th graders second semester and all other 10th through 12th students. All right, Commissioner Singleton, I'm turning it over to you.
Great. So we can do away with the stream. Okay. Again, thank y'all for being a part of this and asking those questions. Again, this part with the academic requirements, of course, that doesn't go into effect until second semester. If you have any special questions about it after viewing this, don't hesitate to contact us, and I'll work real closely with Big Teams so that we can make this as smooth a process as we possibly can. One of the updates I wanted to give you is I spoke with the president of the 5A class, and their classification meeting is actually February 9th at 8:45, still being held here at the league office, but it's February 9th at 8:45. So take that as an update. If we send out any information in writing, it will reflect that, but just wanted to make everybody aware that that's the classification meeting time. Are there any questions out there, Ms. Boozer, that we haven't given answers to?
I am scanning through them. No, they're asking, will there still be a PA option for the middle school students? Which that is
Yes.
an option that's going to need to be in there. Yes.
Yes, there will be a PA option for the middle school students. Anything else?
That is all.
So again, this truly does not replace face-to-face, but this gives us an opportunity to be a little bit more efficient in what we're doing and have the ability to, for those that can't make the meetings, have the ability to review this and catch themselves up to speed. And again, we're always available to answer any and all questions that you may have. We will continue to offer these type presentations or webinars so that you can do it without having to travel great distances, and you have other times that you can do it. We're going to continue to look at ways to improve our communication process. You can help us by telling us what else we can possibly do. And if we can, we're glad to do it. With that, that's all that we have at this time. If there's nothing else, Ms. Boozer, then we can call this meeting to an end.
Yes, sir. Thank you all for being in attendance today. And again, this is recorded and will be posted on our website if someone in your school was not able to attend, or even for you to go back and review at a later date. So we thank you, and hope you all have a wonderful holiday season that is coming here soon in the next few weeks. And as always, if there's anything we can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to our office.